Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in. We shall start the webinar shortly. Thank you for joining in. We shall start the webinar shortly. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in. We'll be starting our webinar in next 1 minute. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our valued speakers and audiences. This is Akashdeep Sethi, your moderator for the session. Today's session has been organized to give you detailed information on how you can initiate your digital transformation journey while ensuring the transparency, automation, agility, and improved decision-making capabilities. You all are logged in as a guest board for this one-hour webinar. We will have discussions regarding the Q&A, regarding your queries after the presentation. This webinar is being recorded for internal purposes. We want to make this as an interactive session. So if there are any questions, I would again say that please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A section during the webinar, and we will take them all at the end of the session once the presentations are over. Your questions will be surely answered. Or you can also raise your hand during the Q&A session and we will unmute you to speak out the questions. I request all the participants to keep their mobile phones on silent mode to avoid any distractions. If you face any issues in the audio or video, please post in the chat box. So now the agenda for today is in front of you, and I would like to set the context for today that we will have 3 to 4 segments for today. In the first segment, we'll be talking about Rise with SAP and BTP. Then there will be a fireside chat with our one of the special guests. Then we'll go through the, the journey of the productivity, about productivity, what productivity is all about, and finally the last segment, which will have Q&A session. So without wasting any time, I would now like to introduce our speakers for today. With me, I have Mr. Johnson James. He is a senior solutions advisor for the SAP S for HANA and has been collaborating with SAP clients, partner network, and prospective clients to support their cloud technology journey and he leads the SAP S for HANA public edition pre-sales for India. He has over 12 years of consulting experience and his area of expertise is in supply chain planning, analytics, based supply chain strategy, business transformation. So basically, he will take us through the rise with SAP. Then we have our special guest today, Mr. Milind Korgaonkar, CIO and CDO at Bajaj Electricals Limited. He is an IT strategy and digital transformation leader with over 25 plus years of experience and has led large scale technology enablement initiatives with business infused design and governance for organizations like Godrej Consumer and Godrej Sara Lee. Further, we have Mr. Ankit Gupta, who works as a managing director with technology consulting practice of Protivity. He has total 19 plus years of experience in SAP implementations, SAP post-implementation reviews, custom SAP solution implementation, demand planning solution, and change management. So he will tell us about productivity. So before I hand it over to our first speaker, there is a poll being launched now, and it will be visible on your screen for next 1 minute. And I'll request all the participants to please, participate and so that we can know your feedback, your answers on that poll. So the poll is live now. So I can see people participating. 50% of the participants have already answered. This is very nice. I mean, this shows the enthusiasm and excitement for the attendees. Really appreciating. For those who still not have answered, I would request you to please answer the poll question. It says, kindly specify your current ERP system from the below options. Option number 1, Microsoft Dynamics NAV. Option number 2, Oracle NetSuite. Option number 3, SAP Business One. Option number 4, SAP ECC. Option number 5, SAP S4 HANA. And the last option is Tally. Last 10 seconds. Thank you so much. Without further ado, I hand it over to Mr. Johnson James for the presentation. Over to you, Johnson.
Hi all, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Good afternoon all. My name is Johnson. I'm a part of the SAP S4HANA Center of Excellence based out of Bangalore here. So in this presentation, we will help you discover the value of RISE with SAP as a solution for your enterprise. We will go through, the solution components, a quick demo, and an example of a manufacturing company's entire journey of an intelligent enterprise. So just can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So why do we need to transform, right? So So business innovation is necessary for survival, and today every enterprise needs it. Need to develop new business models to avoid being disrupted, to gain efficiencies, to fund innovation, and transform their the mission critical systems without business risk. Right. So just to give you a little bit of statistics here, since 2000, 52% of the companies in the Fortune 500 have gone out of business dominantly because of the digital disruptions, right? In fact, it is now well known that technology innovations provide enterprises with new opportunities for value creations. Until 2011, it took Fortune 500 companies an average of 20 years to reach $1 billion valuations. But in today's world, with digital startups, they're getting there in like 4 or 5 years. Just to give an example, like Ola's and the Flipkarts, right? So just to give you an example of that, like we all know Moderna, right? Moderna vaccines. So how they helped the world during the pandemic. So that's a perfect example of a digital disruption. So they are a biotech company into therapy. I mean, they're into vaccine manufacturing, right? So SAP helped to quickly manage Moderna's transition from a startup to a leader in vaccine market during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And in fact, Moderna CEO made the decision to build his company platform on cloud to create what he calls a software for life. And today, the company runs its operations on SAP's latest ERP. So this success illustrates the speed, the scale, innovation, and the productivity benefits that only the cloud makes possible and needed by all enterprise today. So, what are the key four pillars that we're talking about, right? So, we all need technology to bring in the digital and the business strategy together. Most of the companies are data driven today, right? Everyone has a lot of data, historical data, and they want to get real time analytics, real time information, and they can take better and strategic decisions with the data that they have. So implementing an ERP should be rapid, right? So it's not like a traditional way that you wait for a year to see something coming out. So implement when you start seeing benefits immediately, right? So that's one pillar, and the connected processes across systems and ecosystems. So these are the reasons that why the that we have found that why organizations need to transform. Could we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So here in this, we are talking about the intelligent enterprise strategy. So the question is, of course, how do you get there, right? How do you put the company onto a path to transform in the right way and the right speed? So at SAP, we have designed the intelligent enterprise strategy to help companies just do that. So if you see at the core, we have the intelligence suite, which we call as the SAP S4 HANA Cloud. So this is the core ERP which runs the core processes. Let's say for a manufacturing company, right? We talk about the end-to-end process, right from OTC, the entire OTC cycle, procure to pay cycle, plan to produce, record to report, right? So even when you're talking about plan to produce from a manufacturing perspective, the S4 HANA brings in core capabilities like predictive MRP, DDMRP, which is a demand-driven material requirement planning, which is a part of the core solution itself, right? And joined by it is an industry cloud solution. So the core offers you helps you with the core process, but there are some unique challenges or the business's process for which you need business specific solutions. So that is why we have the industry cloud solutions, which is delivering highly verticalized and innovative applications for your specific industry and vertical. So we have the intelligence suite, we have the cloud, industry cloud, and we have the layer which comes in between, which is called as the business process intelligence. So it is an analytics layer for that delivers new dimension of real time and predictive data insights and foresight to steer your business experiences. So we have the real time analytics, reporting, etc. can be built in here. So over and above that, we have the business network, which we see beyond your organization, where you start collaborating with your trading partners, so that you're driving to connect the processes and experiences. And finally, we have the business technology platform. Let's say, for example, which will help you as a customer and the partners innovate, bringing in new solutions or applications, develop applications for the customers to meet their requirements from a low code and a no code capabilities perspective, right? So now let's have a quick look at the demo. It's a demo of a S4HANA Cloud, right from manufacturing to selling, right? What are the different processes, the screens, the intuitive user interface, etc. Let's quickly have a glimpse of the solution. Can we play the video, please?
Today, volatility and uncertainty have become synonymous with supply chain management, making producing and selling high-quality products more challenging than ever. SAP S4HANA Cloud delivers an end-to-end, fully integrated system that equips organizations with the visibility and the processes they need to keep their customer promises, even in turbulent times. Optimize your production plans by simulating demand situations. As a production planner, estimate demand for your products to reduce risks and make better financial decisions. Reflect a turbulent business environment with frequent supplier constraints by leveraging predictive MRP. This optimizes your demand plan according to your latest capacity situation and constraints within your supply chain. By simulating changes within your demand plan, you can achieve optimal outcomes before you release the plan to material requirements planning and procurement. Based on your demand plan, the MRP run has created planned orders for production over the next several months. This also generates purchase requisitions for the required components automatically. Get the items you need quickly by launching the procurement process for the required components by seamlessly creating a purchase order. Leverage a massive supplier network that keeps you in the loop with supplier confirmations and advanced shipping notices. Inbound deliveries for your components are automatically created the moment you receive an ASN receipt, preparing the warehouse for receiving the goods. With the goods receipt posted, suppliers seamlessly send invoices within the supplier network, and payment is handled automatically. Seamless and efficient collaboration with subcontractors drives high-quality and profitable products. As an inventory manager, when a component is produced by a subcontractor, you ensure the subcontractor has raw materials on hand to begin production. From your subcontracting cockpit, use visibility into the subcontractor's latest inventory situation to create a shipment of raw materials to the subcontractor if required. Once the subcontractor has produced the components, they're received into stock and are ready for production. Then, production is launched by converting a planned order into a production order. As a production supervisor, perform a final real-time check to ensure all components are in stock before you release the order for production. The components are picked and staged on the shop floor before the product is assembled. After the assembly is finished, the operation is confirmed and followed by additional operations like acceptance testing and packaging that flow through the same process. The produced and packed products are now in stock and ready to be sold. Holistically plan the transport of goods to your customers as efficiently as possible to ensure happy customers and reduce costs while minimizing your environmental footprint. As an internal sales rep, quickly and easily enter customer orders into the system. Once saved, the system automatically creates a freight unit that is used for transportation planning. As a transportation planner, you start the planning process in the transportation cockpit. Select a freight unit and assign it to the preferred vehicle type to create the freight document. Based on this order, you can choose the most profitable carrier for delivering your product, then share your request via EDI, and once that's confirmed, start logistics execution by creating an outbound delivery of your products. Now the warehouse clerk picks the required items and indicates the serial numbers on each product to increase transparency and eliminate errors. The products are then prepared for shipping. During the outbound logistics process, an inspection lot is created, triggering a quality inspection for one of the items to be sold. In the quality department, a quality technician checks the surface of the area and verifies the product meets the defined quality requirements. Based on the inputs of the quality technician, the quality engineer takes the final usage decision. Now the products are ready to get picked up by the carrier. Back in transportation management, you as the transportation planner change the freight order to ready for transportation execution before you track the handover to the carrier until the goods are on the road and the goods issue is posted. Now bill the product to the customer and post it accordingly into your accounts receivable. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and optimize production plans. Producing and selling high-quality products in turbulent times is possible with SAP.
Yeah, thank you. So that's a quick demo of the solution. I mean, the end-to-end process, right from manufacturing that we spoke about, predictive MRP, how you can evaluate capacity within the core ERP itself, and then the quality process, and then the sales process, etc. Right. So that's end-to-end flow. So let's next move on to the slides. Yeah. So what are the, I mean, how do the organization, address transformation today, right? So from the top management, they want new business ideas. So each functions, right? They work in silo, and they say that, how can they improve the reporting compliance, capex, reduce capex, and let's say from an operations perspective, how do I generate manufacturing efficiencies? Or let's say from an IT perspective, how do I with multiple solutions, how do I create the integration? How to how to have that upgrades of custom codes, etc. Right. So there are multiple questions that are being asked, and for generating new business ideas. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what does translate to? So we do agree that it's all technology centric. They use technologies, different solutions to come up with these, let's say. So what does it lead to? It leads to added complexity. It lacks collaboration. It is all siloed approach, right? So there'll be standalone reporting, and there are multiple spreadsheets. So if there's a report required by the organization, there is a team that generates the report. I mean, it's not real time. Somebody has to work on that to get that out of the system. So you'll have different portals. You'll have a supplier portal. You'll have a customer portal, but they're not collaborated with the actual ERP. So they're all siloed and they're not integrated. So what does it lead to, right? It's a very complex kind of a situation. So that is where we come with RISE with SAP. If we can move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So RISE with SAP is a solution to drive business innovation that enables the organization to become an intelligent, sustainable enterprise in the cloud, right? So that you as a customer can take the lead with industry innovation. So as you know that the product receives, there's a continuous innovation on the product. Every year there's an upgrade, etc. You get new functionalities. Never stop improving with the continuous insight, and secure your success with a trusted partner for your business need for each step of the way, right? So what does a guided transformation mean for organizations, right? So we are having the entire organization. Can we go to the next slide? Is it on the previous slide, please? Yeah. So we're talking about the core processes being simplified, integrated. Now let's say, for example, you have a customer portal or a vendor portal, right? So they are integrated. So the customer can send in their ASN, so you can track that. So with basis that, how you can actually commit to your customers. So we are talking to a connected organization. Everything is everyone is talking to each other. There is a solution for each and every processes here. There is a process insights in terms of real-time KPIs and dashboards. And we're talking about the solution hosted on a hyperscaler, one contract. SAP is managing the support packages. So from an infrastructure perspective also, right? So SAP manage infrastructure. So this is rises SAP on a guided transformation to deliver business outcome. Can we go to the next slide, please? So I want to take an example of how we help manufacturing companies with the help of the core ERP solution and the other industry cloud solution from an end-to-end perspective. We call it design to operate, right from the R&D process to the sales process to the supply chain and services, and then the finance, right? So what are the key elements for the organization here? So we need to have the right product, ensure that the product reaches the customer on time, and have an efficient manufacturing process while you have the healthy top line and the bottom line, right? So what are we looking at? We need to ensure serviceability to customer orders, number one. So as a manufacturing firm, you have to deal with high priority, customer demands. There's a huge volume of orders, and let's say we're talking about a company which is into a very complex products, which has got multiple configurations, right? So and we also need the goal is to drive the business process based on an insight to action driven approach. So let's take an example, right? So this company is let's say this company is into manufacturing of robotic products, very highly configurable products, right? They have different variants configuration for their categories. And it starts from the EPD. We call it as a enterprise product development, where the R&D and the engineering team collaborates. They are improving their designs, and they do their designs, they collaborate, and once the design is finalized, they are alerted to the marketing team to run the campaigns, right? So now the design is finalized, now it's handed over to the marketing team. So this is all seamless, right? The design to marketing team, it goes to the marketing cloud, where the marketing team then runs campaigns. So what happened? There's a lead generation is happening, and the customers are placing orders because of the right pricing of the product, right? So everything is available. So they get the leads, the orders are the quotations, etc., are received, and the orders are punched. Now, what is happening is because this is a very highly complex, configurable kind of a product, so we can use the advanced variant configuration, which comes out of the core itself, and variant configuration pricing, where the sales team jumps on, takes this challenge. Since there are multiple configurations of robotic arms available for customers to order, they offer multiple options and provide a code for the configurable product, right, with attractive pricing. So now that the customer has placed the order, now what happens in the core, we run the MRP, we have confirmed the production, the planning has happened, we have confirmed the production, etc. So we have to give the promised date back to the customers, right? So leverage the advanced ATP functionalities, which is a part of the core. So what happens is that this helps the sales and marketing team to simulate based on various algorithms which is available on the core, to see which, and based on the constraints that is modeled, when can you actually promise those orders, right? So using the ATP functionality or the advanced ATP functionality, you can give a realistic promise date to customers. Now we have given the promise dates to customers, everything. Now we have to plan for the components. Now we have run the MRP. Now how do we collaborate with the suppliers, right? So we have something called an integrated business planning and a supplier collaboration network, where you collaborate with the suppliers. So rather than having a third party or a kind of a vendor portal, using this solution, you can collaborate with the vendor. They can send in the advanced shipping notification so that you know when you're getting the components on time. So then moving into the actual shop floor execution, right? So we have the digital manufacturing cloud. So we have the components available. So we have started the production in the shop floor, right? So we have to get real-time visibility. So for a salesperson, they get a visibility of what's happening, where the product is, at what stage of the production is, so that they can closely monitor and visualize, and then they can expect if there's any uncertainties, etc. They can inform the customers. It's not like a they wait for the production to happen and they do not know what's happening at the shop floor level. So then we have the asset intelligence network, where this is mainly for the service teams, right? Where they can monitor what's happening. Let's say, for example, if there's a machine, right, which manufactures these components, they can monitor the machine. They can predict. I mean, they can plan for the maintenance, etc. So that you are planning the maintenance, etc. So that you do not get into a breakdown situations, etc. Right. So that's one from an asset intelligence network. And we have the service parts planning. So you have a machineries, you have to ensure that the spares are available for your machineries in case there's a breakdown, etc. Right. You not have a shutdown for 2 or 3 days for the spares to arrive. So you plan that well in advance based on the maintenance schedules, etc., so that you have the right spares. If there's any contingency, if there's any breakdown, you can immediately act on it, so that there is no disruption on the manufacturing side. Then we have the field service management, that is more from a resource or people perspective, right? We have your service technicians, we have the people on the shop floor. Let's say, for example, today if there's a shutdown, or let's say, for example, if there's a machine breakdown, so you do not have to call, or you do not have to write an email for a service engineer to come and rectify the issues. There's a this using this particular solution, this any breakdowns, etc., can be notified to the service engineer, and with the help of SLAs, etc., and they can address that breakdown as soon as possible. And the last part is that from a solution billing and a subscription, right? So once these robotic components, let's say this robot is assembled and manufactured, they can be shipped to the customers based on the orders received in priority, the same priority that they have received, and which is committed by the sales team, right? And the finance team execute the customer billing process for an outcome based services. So if you see end to end, right, it's not only the core ERP that we are supporting, we're also supporting the supporting function as well. Just before I conclude, I just want to summarize what we discussed right now. From Rise with SAP, we are having the core ERP, which is a part of the intelligent core. We have the industry solutions. We have the business intelligent layer for the real-time reporting and analytics. We have the business network for collaboration with your trading partners, and then we have the BTP platform for innovations for by the customers or by the partner ecosystems. So just concluding here, and we can move to the next section.
So, thank you so much, Johnson, for your valuable insight. Now we have our fireside chat with Mr. Milind Korgaonkar from Bajaj Electricals Limited. I would now hand it over to Mr. Ankit for the moderation part. Ankit, over to you.
Thanks, Akash. Welcome, Milan, and many thanks for your time today. You are an IT strategy and digital transformation leader with 25 plus years of experience, and you've led large-scale technology enablement initiatives, for organizations like Godrej Consumer, Wockhardt, Godrej Sarali, and now you're CDIO with Bajaj Electricals. And I'm aware that last year Bajaj Electricals went through a major transformation and upgrade of their ERP to S4HANA on AWS Cloud. It would be great to understand from you, some of the reasons and benefits of this transformation. So, Milind, my first question to you in that regards would be, what kind of business value do you think this transformation has brought to Bajaj Electricals?
Hey, first of all, thank you, Ankit, for helping me join across on this particular website chat. Also, thank you everyone on the call. We have put across in Bajaj Electricals a multi-year roadmap, and this roadmap for digital transformation required to have a strong digital core. And then looking at that strong digital core, we embark onto SAP S4 as well as SAP Cloud Platform, which we went live on the May of 2022. Challenge of doing it across during the COVID pandemic times, but whatever we did able to manage and went live on May. Uh, while we went across on the SAP S4HANA and the cloud, it has helped us not only to connect our internal ERP operations, but then also connect across with our business partners, specifically using the cloud solutions from SAP like SAP Ariba, C4C, IBP. And then all of these particular solutions all together help us to provide a more holistic, integrated solution, which help us to have a strong foundation on which we will able to move across on. So it was a strategic call of moving across on a strong digital core with SAP. And the way I look into it is the benefits will be accruing across on the next few years, specifically on growing on top of this strong digital core.
When you said growth, Milind, do you think this transformation has strengthened growth strategy as well for Bajaj Electricals?
Yes, we as a Bajaj Electrical have our growth numbers put across for the next 3 years. And while market has been kind and we have been growing on a CAGR of 12 to 13% for the last 3 years, the growth is something which cannot happen without a digital uh, push or a trust which requires for us to leverage ourselves into the next level. And then when we are moving across onto it on the digital trust, we wanted to see exactly three main areas where we would like to focus across on. One was that how are we going to optimize our supply chain operations? How do we define our go-to-market strategies? And we believe data is something which is going to be a differentiator for us. And then collecting the data and converting it into insights, it's something which we wanted to focus across on. So while we are looking at the growth potential as a Bajaj, this underlying three layers were primarily pillars for us to move across onto that growth strategy.
Great, great. And what do you think would be three most important factors, that you would suggest for manufacturing and distribution organizations to look forward to any ERP solution? So while they select an ERP solution, what could be the top three considerations?
So, in old times, ERP was more trying to automate what were internal operations. So it was more to do with your finance, manufacturing, sales, all tightly integrated and doing across on an operation. What I have understood in the last few years is that it has to now connect across to my business partners. Be it the business partners, be it the suppliers, be it distributors, they require to be connected together and they require to work seamlessly across. And hence, a ERP which enables me to connect to the business partners is one of the key drivers. Uh, Typically in manufacturing, the supply chain is crucial. From the time you procure the material till you make a finished goods and then you sell it across on, it changes multiple hands. And depending on the manufacturing industries, be it in FMCG, FMEG, or pharma, for that matter, you require to ensure that it's integrated tightly across all of these touch points, and hence the integrated supply chain planning, which I felt is the second most important factor. Organizations are changing, and this change is inevitable. When we are looking across the growth for the next few years, we wanted a solution which is flexible and scalable. And hence, the third most important factor which I would like to look across when choosing a right ERP is that the solution should have a flexibility from a business point of view, where I can able to add on new business solutions across onto it, or a business requirements across onto it, or ability to scale up. or scale down. And hence, from all of this, the third most important factor was the flexibility and scalability of a ERP to manage the organization growth.
Great. Broadly, I would say three important factors: scalability, networking to business partners, how easy it is in terms of collaboration, and of course, the third one in terms of the overall integrated solution. So, Milind, now this was about IT and how a CIO or a CDO would look at in terms of an ERP solution. From a CEO perspective or anyone outside IT department, what do you think they would care about in terms of how SAP application is deployed?
See, SAP application typically is a major change in an organization, and people don't like change. So if you have to get this change done across, and being a major change, it has to be driven from a top, and hence the CEO or the senior business leaders are required to be participating onto it, enabling this particular change and driving that particular reason for the change, making it seamlessly understood across multiple sections within the business that this change is something which requires to be done. While when you look into from a point of the change, while the senior leadership is required to drive it, from an end user perspective, what comes across is that what is it going to make his life different? Be it a guy who is doing a manufacturing in the shop floor or a person who is going to sell in a product in the market, what is a change for him? And hence, when you're looking across, when the ERP or SAP local system is getting deployed, the end user is more interested in what's impact him or her in doing his or her job better. But then when it comes across where you're hosting SAP, where you are managing, and where it doesn't actually make a difference for the end user or a business leaders to understand how it works across. That something is done across by a CIO, understanding exactly how and where it can help across them. So it's very key important from a point of understanding that change is important. It has to be driven from a top, and then the change is going to impact the business users, and that business impact on the change for those users has to be as smooth and value adding as much as possible.
Great, great. And Uh, over and above this deployment, there is a big role of partners also, the SIs who would really implement the solution for the organizations. So there are a lot of companies who help to, who offer to help in SAP implementations. According to you, what should we really look for in a certified SAP partner?
So when you say SAP, SAP has evolved its ERP solutions across multiple different particular domains, be it in the pharma, telecommunication, even in Bajaj Electricals. I'm also working across on the EPC side of the business. So there are multiple domains which SAP offers. Depending on which domain you are into, I think the most important factor which comes across is that choosing a right partner who has got a domain knowledge, and that's I think is a key to manage the implementation part of it. Understanding the business part of it by the partner, and then interacting and creating a value, putting across the best practices is all possible when the domain knowledge of that business partner is is is, is something which is lying in is as same as what we require from the business part of it. The next most important part comes across is that most of these particular business partners are SAP certified, are putting across a lot of SAP solutions. Like Johnson said in this, if you can't now look into implementing SAP for a 6 to 8 months durations. Gone are those days when it used to take a year or so. And if you require to fast track and accrue the benefits, you require a partner who can able to accelerate the implementation part of it. And then looking with the tools or a methodology which can able to drive the implementation quicker and faster. I think is something which I require to look across from a partner when I'm selecting him. Third comes across is that the understanding of a partner to look into, because typically in the partners you get a different the costing part of it. You have got a partner who charges per hour, but and some partners who charge uh, higher per hour. the most important factor which comes across is that what is my total cost of ownership? And when you are looking at choosing a partner, try to look into all the factors which requires to be taken care when you are looking at implementation. Uh, the total cost of ownership when you are driving it across, be it with respect to change requests in future, incident management in future, will be something which you require to consider too. And last thing which I would like to look into it is that when you implement SAP like a solution, you are married to it. And similarly, the implementation partner who is trying to get this particular marriage done with you requires also to be there to also ensure that support post go live is also something which is managed. So it's also important selecting a partner post go live who can able to stay along with you, create a value, ensure that this particular implementation is not limited only till go live, but until the time you are able to extract the values, you have got somebody to support and manage it. So these are the few factors which I would like to look into from a partner who will be supporting me on SAP implementation.
Great, great. Thanks for those insights. But yes, once the partner is onboarded, but even during the implementation of SAP, I'm sure there must be a lot of critical factors that would make an implementation successful. What do you think should be those critical factors or critical steps to make an S4HANA or an ERP implementation successful?
Good question, Mankit. And I think while multiple companies go across on doing the SAP implementation, a few do quite a good job, few are able to pass through it, and few do not succeed. I think the people who get it right and get it right first time, they have got some sort of a mantra which they look after. And then there are 4 or 5 particular key mantras I felt a particular company requires to have it right. One and the foremost is coming across is that this particular implementation has to have a top management executive buying, and it has to be driven across as a top management business goal when you're implementing SAP. It's changes is difficult, changes costly, and changes time consuming, and hence from a business point of view, top line executive buying is something which is most important. uh, right sizing the budget and the staff. So one is the resources which are required, be it the financial resources as well as the resources which are required to get it implemented. Because when you are going to do the implementation, the same business users are going to do keeping the lights on by doing your normal business as well as spend time in trying to map the business process on a ERP. And when you are going to do it for 6 to 8 months, you require to align the both the resources accordingly. So that's the second mantra which I felt was getting the the resources right. Third, which we just spoke across, choosing the right partner, I think that's key. Fourth comes across is that when you are putting across it, this is a project which goes through multiple phases, multiple milestones. So defining right sets of a milestone, going across through a right methodology, is something which I felt was a key. And when you say right methodology and the processes, when you do it across, governance has to be key. And hence, with the governance, if you are able to have a way in which you can able to track and manage the implementation progress, I think that's something which comes through. Last thing which I always felt was that change impacts the end user, and the communication is clear. It was to be very very clear. So getting them onboarded during the testing phase, communicating with them on what change is going to happen, trying to ensure that change is as smooth as possible, I think is the last, but the most important part when you go across on implementing a ERP sort of solution.
Great insights, and I'm sure a beautiful audience would also have some, point of view in terms of an ERP implementation. Milind, thank you so much. It was really nice. But let's take a quick poll as well, Akash, from the audience as well in terms of their point of view in certain steps of ERP implementation.
Absolutely. So the poll is live now. So the question says, which aspect of digital transformation is most crucial for your organization's growth strategy? Please select maximum 3 options. I would request all the participants, all the attendees to answer. We are actually looking for the maximum participation. Last 30 seconds to go. So 50% of the participants have already answered. I would request the one who have not answered, please participate. Okay, so we are done with the poll. Over to you, Ankit.
Thanks, Akash. We're already 3:50 now. I'll try and cover this up in 5 minutes so that we have the rest of the 5 minutes for Q&A. A quick introduction about Protiviti. So we are a global consulting firm, primarily on business BPI, business consulting, business performance improvement. Technology business is something that we started, I would say, last 6-7 years. But that's our forte was always around that. We are a $2 billion organization in 2022, but I guess now we're already 2.6, 2.7 this year. Our existence across the world, we have 90 offices covering 28 plus countries. We are SAP Gold partners. So that's briefly about Protiviti as a firm at large. From an overall solutions perspective, we are not just there in SAP. We have host of services like internal audit, financial advisory, forensics, risk advisory, and a lot of technology services like cybersecurity. We are there in Salesforce, we are there in Oracle as a firm, and with a workforce of around close to 3,000 people in India. If you move to next slide, Akash, we look at our presence in India. We are there across all the major cities. So we have our offices in Gurgaon, Noida. We are there in Calcutta, Bhubaneswar, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, Coimbatore, Bangalore. So the team which I've talked about, 3,000, is spread across all of these regions. There are two more offices that are coming up soon. So we'll have a presence in Ahmedabad and Pune as well. From an SAP standpoint, this team is around 220 professionals, and this is just India I'm talking about. Globally, we are 1,500 plus SAP professionals. More than 20% of our professionals SAP are certified, and out of them, again, 25 are cloud-ready professionals who are certified in cloud, which is public cloud. We spend a lot of time in our assets. We build a lot of accelerators, which Milind was talking about, to do a fast track and an accurate implementations. So we spend 29,000 plus hours already in building these assets. In terms of clients, 100 plus live SAP clients, we have 30 ongoing projects as we talk, 50 plus GRC SAP GRC specific implementations that we've done, and 20 plus SAP HANA implementations that we've done so far. The SAP services is not very old in Protiviti. We started just 2.5 years back, and all of these story is a very short time, a 2.5 year story, I would say. And I think it's a decent credit that we've been able to build, or a decent story that we've been able to build in 2.5, 3 years. Moving ahead, Akash. So as a firm, like Milind mentioned, what is really important for any implementation partner is not just be technically sound, but we also need to be having a lot of business process knowledge or domain experience. And this is where Protiviti comes in as business experts along with advisory solutions. As we talk, our strength is on business advisory, business consulting, and we leverage a lot of synergies internally as an SAP practice along with our business improvement or business performance improvement wing. And therefore, we call ourselves as problem solvers. We are aware of risk. We do not try to do a risk averse, and through a calculated way. I think that's the reason why we've been able to build that success story in 2.5 years. And we come as advisors to business. Our always priority is business first, then technology fits in as per our business, the way business is moving dynamically, and therefore it's always business first. Moving ahead, Akash, few more things I would just talk to about SAP. We are already behind time. I would say in the last 5 minutes, I want to keep for Q&A. But yes, like Milind mentioned, in terms of anything that a partner would really look at, or the desire that a partner should have, this is where we focus around. And here is our differentiation in terms of any implementation that we do from an SAP side. Our SAP journey is always about standardization. When we standardization, it also means standardization of business processes also across functions, across integrations. Customer experience is another focus in our implementations, and thereafter controls is a core part, since our strength is around internal audit advisory. So that goes hand in hand along with any implementation that we do. And our BPI wings helps us do the process simplifications. Data and digital together put together is leveraging our automations, not just in SAP, but we've got various other low code, no code platforms, data and digital, which helps us do a lot of automations with industry 4.0 like IoT and etc. So all of those pre-built IP products that we've already registered with SAP that help us to execute these kind of automations, and of course the team that we have. So that's briefly about productivity. I'll take a pause here and open this forum for Q&A. Akash.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
so
I do see
it's
some
Q&A
questions.
session.
Yeah.
Correct. So, I'll start with this Q&A section. The first question which says, what are industry-specific cloud solutions available in SAP Public Cloud?
Yeah, maybe I can lead this question to Johnson.
Yeah, hi. So I think, from a public cloud perspective, there are industry solutions like Ariba. Then we can log into the SAC. Then we have the AATP Advanced Avail to Promise. So these are the kind of cloud solutions that are available for public cloud today.
Okay.
Thanks,
So,
James. I think that
thank
answers.
you. The next question I can see here is, we are not sure when we have to go for SAP S/4HANA and whether we should opt for the public cloud or private cloud. There is a significant difference in license fees between them, but we are uncertain about which one will be best for us. How can we decide that?
I guess, Milind, would you be able to help with this question?
So when you are looking at going across on a S4HANA, uh, the key part comes across is the transition part of it. Both, be it on a public cloud or private cloud, both of them gives you the similar particular advantage of a scalability and the main difference between SAP public cloud and a private cloud, when you look put across on, is that in a public cloud you pay as you go. In a private cloud, when you put it across, it's still dependent on the cap. It's a fixed cost which is there. So you, whatever servers which you are going to deploy on where the SAP S4HANA is going to put across, those are sort of a rented, but then you don't get a scalability across as much as what you get it on a public cloud. uh, uh, but it has got both advantage as well as disadvantage. Public cloud, even if you go across, you require to ensure that you are able to manage it effectively. Otherwise, the leakages also have got a tendency to override your budget. In private cloud, typically it's like a fixed outgo, which so the cost doesn't vary too much. So while you get an advantage of scalability in a public cloud, uh, but then you have got a disadvantage in case if you don't manage it properly, you may have a cost run. In a private cloud, you get advantages of a fixed cost per year, which will go through, but scalability is limited.
Thank you, Milind.
So the next question I can see here is, can you please be specific on the benefits available when we connect to the business partners like customers?
I guess, Milind, again, since you're working on C4C, which is integrated with S4 HANA, I think maybe you can address this.
So when it comes to any type of business, B2B business or B2C business, it's important that customer is tightly seamlessly integrated back with the ERP. From the order which customer put across till the delivery cycle which goes through. has to be seamlessly managed and also transparently showcase back to the customer saying the status of it. And hence, when you look into the any particular ERP which has got a tight connections with the business partners, I think it makes the business run much more simple, and it's much more user friendly for both customer as well as the business team which are managing it across. And hence, when you look into from a customer part of it, it's important that those system has got ability to connect across onto it, both from a B2B as well as B2C, depending on whatever business you're across on.
Thank you.
So the next question is how to decide when to make the move to S4 HANA.
Oh, this one is a tricky question, I guess. Milind, any insights around this?
See, when you it's not a question of when you require to do. You require to, this question is slightly a long term, because you are not looking at moving across on S4 HANA, or you're looking at going across on any Oracle solution or MS Dynamics as a solution. What is more critical for you is that what is your roadmap for the next 2 or 3 years? And in looking at that roadmap, when you're looking across onto it, a strong core foundation is most important to build on top of it. Be you talk about connected customers, connected vendors, connected manufacturing, connected distributions, which goes through across. If you don't have a strong foundation, then it's difficult. And if you are not on a connected a strong ERP, then I think it's a high time you require to decide across onto it. If you are on a ERP, and if you're saying I'm working on SAP ECC, or if I'm working across on Microsoft Night Vision, there will be multiple other factors which you may require to consider before going across on SAP S4 HANA, which could be the product existing product life cycle which gets over, and or the need to move across on S4 HANA, which can drive you the business benefits. So depending on the business which you are into, depending on the need which comes across, I think the question goes more from uh, is the what's triggering you to actually migrate to S4 HANA, and that's need is something which could be different for different person, and hence according the answer could vary.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Srinivas. He's asked, currently we are using SAP ECC 6. Can we migrate from ECC to SAP HANA Rise, or we have to purchase the license separately?
Johnson or Milind, I guess. Milind, you
No,
can answer that as well, I guess.
no, I can answer it with my knowledge of SAP, but yes, SAP, there is a conversion factor from ECC to the RISE when you go through it. So depending on number of licenses which you have got on SAP ECC, when you are going across on a SAP RISE, that conversion goes through. You require to connect with your SAP account executive, and he or she will able to help you explain how this conversion will be in case for you to move across from ECC to S4 RISE. Technically, it's feasible to move across from SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA or on RISE.
Yeah, I guess there was another point there. I'm sorry, I'm adding to it what Milind said. There was another point there about public cloud. So from ECC to public cloud, it wouldn't be a migration because public cloud being, an open public cloud, so it would be a greenfield implementation on a public cloud that way. But yes, from a private cloud perspective, if it is supposed to go on a private cloud from ECC, then therefore the migration option is there.
Yeah, so just to add one more point here, Johnson here. So see, if you are planning to move to S4 HANA from ECC, this is an opportunity for you to relook at your business process. Yeah, while the migration is possible for a private cloud, but do you really want to migrate from your existing business process to the same business process that you're following to your private cloud? So you can evaluate whether you want to improve your business process. You can just have a consulting exercise, see what are the new functionalities. Then you decide whether you want to go with a greenfield or you want to migrate the data. So moving into S4, you need to start leveraging those new capabilities, etc. So it's about you whether you want to go with an existing data or you want to leverage on this new capability. That's just adding to my thoughts.
Thanks, Johnson.
Uh, we are ahead of our time already 4 minutes, above the time, but still we'll take our last two to three questions. So, Mr. Shiv Raj Sharma has asked, how much time required for SAP B1 to SAP S4 HANA? He's basically asking the implementation time.
Maybe I'll address two questions at a time. I see another question, so I think it will address two questions. So B1 to S4 HANA cannot be a migration that way, and it would be an implementation. And a typical S4 HANA implementation, would be like around 5 to 6, 7 months, depending on the complexity of business, how diversified the business is, and the locations that we have, the users count that we have. So those are the factors. But typical, a simplified business with 100 user base kind of, with one or two manufacturing locations, can be easily implemented in maybe 5 months of time.
Thank you, Ankit. Another question, I think it could be a last one. What are the strategic business values we should consider?
Milind, would you want to take this last question?
So when you say strategic business values, when you consider, I think the first and foremost, I think when you are going across on SAP S4 HANA or any of the particular ERP, it's no longer a driver for getting a value. It's a basic hygiene. So when you require to put across, you require to have a strong hygiene which comes across on, and hence that's something which is a primary need to move across onto. But like any other particular business which comes across, the key particular areas which you will be like to looking into it, try to optimize your particular cost, try to increase your top line which comes across onto it with the change in the business process or the way in which you are managing the current operations when you look across from a change, and also look across from a point of agility or response in which you can able to look across on. So when we took a call in Bajaj to move across from a uh, erstwhile Oracle to SAP S4 HANA, the key business driver for us was to have a strong digital core and one platform for us to connect across on. So it was not only SAP S4 HANA, for us it was SAP S4 HANA and the related cloud applications are connected across along with it. So have a one integrated approach was a key business driver in a case for us. Obviously, when we look across also from the other areas, we were also revamping, as Johnson just now said, was that we took the opportunity to re-look at our particular business processes, and looking at the business processes, we try to optimize best on which we could do, be it on a top line or optimize the cost as much as possible. So from business to business it will vary, the need could be different for you to move across onto, but in the strategic business drivers specifically comes across on from the top line and the cost which you look at. But I strongly feel this is a need of the hour. It's a basic hygiene. So if you don't do it, then your business hygiene is not up to the mark.
Thank you, Milind. Thank you
Uh,
so much, Akash.
yeah,
Maybe the
I mean
closing
the
remarks.
okay. So I was just wondering because we had a great response, great amazing audience today. If we can take one last question, which I can see on the screen, if the time allows, Ankit, then we can move to our closing remarks. Yeah.
What are the first steps to consider in an SAP transformation journey? I think that's the last question. Milind, we'll need your help
Correct.
and guidance on this as well.
Now, what are the first steps? First steps again comes across is what is your need, which comes through. And once you identify the need, you understand the change is not so simple and easy. And hence, as I said earlier, you require to have a top management buying for it. So once you know that this is what you are going to go through, just try to ensure that the leadership team is completely bought out, so that the change is easier and manageable. Second, which comes across on how you are able to manage the resources, because when you look at doing this particular change, always keep in mind it's not a small time exercise. It's roughly which takes around 6 to 8 months for doing the change, and at that same time you are going to run the business as well as manage this change. So the one of the first steps which you may require to look into how you are going to manage your resources, part of it.
Thank you so much.
So, thank you so much. Now, moving on to the closing note. Before that, I would request each and every one of you, of all who have attended this webinar, to please check this chat box and just click on the feedback link which we have shared just now, because your feedback is really valuable to us, and I would request all the attendees to just fill that form. With this, we end our today's session. I would like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Johnson James, Mr. Milind Korgaonkar, and Mr. Ankit Gupta for taking out time from their busy schedules to grace the session. I must thank all the participants for the participation. In case of any query, please feel free to reach us. The contact details are in front of your screen. Once again,
Okay.
thank you everyone for joining in. Thanks a lot. You have been a great audience. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.